This meeting.
Melissa, what is your email? Do you want me to forward it to you too, Koike?
Yeah, just screenshot it.
Okay.
Check. Did we do mic checks already?
Melissa, it's saying that. Never mind. And that I don't know how to type.
We good? All right, calling this meeting to order. Vice Chair. Quick, come okay, hello. 7:01. All right. Anyone in the room want to volunteer to open us up in a pule? Ma, I'm gonna volunteer. Told you. Come to the mic. If you can state your name, and then if you could please open us up with a pule. Mahalo.
Is it on?
I think so. Aloha, everyone. You know what? This is my first time doing this, so I'm going to say this. Mahalo to everyone for being here. Akua, we pray for your blessings upon this neighborhood board meeting and everyone that is here. I come before you and pray, and next time we lift up everyone and everything that needs to be done in Pono. I give you all praise and glory in Jesus' holy name. God bless everyone. Mahalo nui.
Check, check, check. Okay, there we go. All right. Mahalo kako for joining us this evening. Welcome to the regular meeting agenda of the Waimānalo Neighborhood Board number 32. Today is Monday, March 9, 2026, and it is now 7:02 p.m. For those of us joining us in person here at Waimānalo Public Library Meeting Room, address is 41-1320, 41-1320 Kalania No'ole Highway, Waimānalo, Hawaii 96795. And for those of us joining us via WebEx, video teleconference, aloha mai kako. And for those of us listening in, you can find the WebEx link on the City and County's Neighborhood Board website. All right. So the purpose of the neighborhood boards and the neighborhood board plan is to increase and ensure effective citizen participation in the decisions of government. So the rules of engaging, anyone wishing to speak is asked to click the raise hand icon. So those of us joining online, and when recognized by the chair, to address comments to the chair. Remarks should not exceed 3 minutes. Please ensure your microphone is muted unless you are speaking. You can mute and unmute for those dialing in on phone by pressing *6. Please state your first and last name for the record. Before moving into your comment, question, etc., written testimony may also be submitted via email using the contact information listed on the Neighborhood Board Commission Office website. Aloha. Akahai, meaning kindness to be expressed with tenderness. Lokahi, meaning unity to be expressed with harmony. Olu olu, meaning agreeable to be expressed with pleasantness. Ha'aha'a, meaning humility to be expressed with modesty. Ahonui, meaning patience to be expressed with perseverance. In accordance to Hawaii's Revised Statutes, Chapter 5-7.5, again, that is in which we will conduct ourselves. The board may take action on any agenda item as required by State Sunshine Law HRS 92. Specific issues not noted on this agenda cannot be voted on unless added to the agenda. A 2/3 vote, 9 of this 13-member board is needed to add an item to the agenda. Adding an item to the agenda, however, is not permitted if one, the item to be added is of reasonably major importance, and two, action on the item by the board will affect a significant number of persons. Determination of whether a specific matter may be added to an agenda must be done on a case-by-case basis. For those of us attending in person, please silence all electronic devices. This meeting is being recorded. And with that, Melissa, can we please ask you to conduct a roll call?
Member Hoku Akana.
Present.
Thank you. Member Kukui Akana. Member Kukui Akana. I'll come back to you. Member Kamahaloha Nuilai.
Present.
Thank you. Vice Chair Kamake Ohelo. Thank you. Chair Kane, not here. Member Makaila. Not here. Member McKeague.
Ew.
Thank you. Member Mokulehua.
Ew.
Thank you. Member Nee. Not here. Member Ralston. Not here. Member Wong.
Present.
Thank you. Member Kukui Akana, I see you online.
Sorry, my stuff X'd out, but present.
Thank you. 7 members present, Vice Chair, you have quorum.
Mahalo, Melissa. Mahalo, kako pakahea po. Members of the board, mahalo for joining us this evening. With that, let's move on with our agenda this evening. Next up is Olelo No'ea o Kamahina. Number 18. Ahu kupanaha I kala I mana. Again, number 18. Ahu kupanaha kala I mana. Peculiar is the action of the sun in Mana. Said of a delusion, Mana Kauai is a place where mirages were often seen. Again, kako, the Olelo No'ea of the Mahina is number 18. Helu umikumavalu, ahu kupanaha kala I mana. Next up on our agenda is Lohe Ke Kupuna. This part of our agenda is very unique to Waimānalo. We truly believe in the wisdom of our kupuna, and we stand on that. And because of that, we recognize and make time on our agenda to listen or hear from any of our kupuna. So are there any kupuna present in person or online that would like to share? Just a mana'o, maybe a hali aloha, a memory of Waimānalo, something that we can memorialize on the record for our mo'opuna to look back on. Anyone? Anyone? All right, so if there's anyone interested, please, when you approach the mic, if you can state your name and where you from for the record.
Hello, my name is Daleen Komakia. I'm Ku'uike's mama, and I'm from Waimānalo, live at the Kupuna housing. And I remember as a young person, used to have a, I think it was Anderson's house where they had Magnum PI. There used to be a boat thing going out there. We used to go swimming out there. Now it's so different here at the beach. Yeah, and I love it though. I come back home and I see there's a lot more people here. A lot more people. Thank you for letting me share.
Mahalo ma. For those of us online and in person, I officially have 5 moms and 2 fathers. So I have plenty kuleana and plenty people to answer to. So mahalo to my mama for being here tonight. With that being said, let's move on with our agenda this evening. Again, mahalo ma. Next up on our agenda is Emergency Providers Report. First up is Honolulu Fire Department.
Good evening, Captain Schubert, Waimānalo Fire Station. The incident statistics for last month, February, were 44 medical calls, 3 motor vehicle incidents, 3 activated alarms, and 1 brush fire. The safety tip for this month is about smoke alarms. Smoke alarms save lives and are an important part of home fire escape plan. Properly installed and maintained smoke alarms will give occupants early warning to get outside quickly. Smoke alarms should be installed in every bedroom, outside each separate sleeping area like a hallway, or on each level of the home. Test smoke alarms at least once a month by pushing the test button. Replace all smoke alarms when they are 10 years old or stop responding when tested.
Mahalo nui, Captain. If you could please stand by. Do we have any members of the board online and have any questions for our Kinayahi? Any board members online? Okay, seeing none. Any members of the public online have any questions for our firemen? HFD. Any board members in person? Any members of the public in person? Mahalo, Captain Schubert, for joining us this evening, and mahalo for your service to our community.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Aloha. Next up on our emergency providers report is our Makai, Honolulu Police Department.
Hello, this is Lieutenant Villafarm with District 4. I'm the lieutenant. Joined with Sergeant Dalkin here, and then one of my officers, Casey Melvin. He actually patrols the immediate area. So any questions would refer to him. Just want to show my face so you guys can see. I'm one of 3 lieutenants that operate this area.
I appreciate it, Ati.
Officer Casey Melvin assigned here to in Waimānalo. For February 26th, the reported incidents that we have for the motor vehicle thefts was 0. The previous month it was 1. Burglaries was 0. The previous month was 0. Regarding thefts, we had 4 this month. Previous month was 5. Unlawful entry into motor vehicles, we had 1. The previous month we had 2. Robberies, this month we have 2 reported incidents. The previous month was 0.
Mahalo, Officer Melvin. If you could please stand by for questions. Do we have any members of the board online for questions for our Makai, HPD? Member Wong, you're recognized.
Yeah, I don't have a question, but I just wanted to thank the police department for helping out at Hunananiho. We've been asking for more police presence there, and the groundskeepers are saying it has been very helpful, especially a shout out to Officer Ventura and Bonilla, who have been helping us with behavior that is not good over there to lessen it. So we just wanted to thank you, and also to report that there is regular occurrences of underage drinking on the right parking lot.
Mahalo, Member Wong.
Thank you.
Any other board members online? Any members of the public online have any questions or concerns or comments for our Makai? Hearing and seeing none. Members in person? Community members in person? Ole. Mahalo, Officer. Mahalo, Lieutenant. God bless, guys. Mahalo for your service to our community. Okay, next up on our emergency providers report is our Kia'iola Ocean Safety.
Aloha, everybody. Again, Aka Tamashiro, Windward Operations Lieutenant, specifically for the Waimānalo area. Due to some of the questions that we've had in the previous meetings, I asked them to kind of give us our information a little bit differently, and also to include everything. But sticking with what we have in the past, I'll start off with some of the numbers, which would be overall attendance for all of District 2, and that would range from Sandy Beach all the way to Kalama Beach Park, is 102,300 or so. About just shy of 14,000 preventative actions. Again, that's when we go down to the beach, see somebody that may be walking into a dangerous situation, whether it's someplace like Sandy's or Makapu, and explain to them that, hey, you're about to go into a dangerous situation, or even if it's at Hunananiho or at a beach park, and explain like, hey, we've got a big influx of Portuguese manowar, or especially recently we've had brown water due to the heavy rains, and also we've had a lot of east swell, which has been good for auto regulars, down in Makapu, even McDonald Land and whatnot. But that's also woken up the little nooks and crannies, where McDonald Land is relatively dormant. When it's good, hey, we're all down there. So uh, aside from that, for first aids, just shy of 1,200. Public contacts, just shy of 22,000. And last month was pretty busy as far as rescue wise, and I was 100, actually literally 101 recorded rescues. I'll also remind everybody that those are the recorded ones. Back when I was a tower guard, sometimes, especially those days when you're just wet shorts all day, you do 3 to 5, 6 log sheets, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Did you mark that down?" Like, it's okay. So, but on average, that's what we had. Some other things that to be noted, we had recently 2 swimmers got swept out at Holona Blowhole. That was near drowning. EMS was called. Luckily, from what I've heard so far, everybody's okay. But again, it's a co-response. We try to always do the 3-prong: police, fire, ambulance, as well as EMS, and we're all honestly always just doing our best until the ambulance gets there, and we're really grateful for them. Was it? We've had during that bad weather, we usually go and talk to the kayak rental shops. We don't have any type of enforcement capability, but we do try to recommend, certain days. Most of them always really receptive, and we don't even have to mention it. Every once in a while, there's the gung hos, regardless. So we had some paddle boarders that got swept out, maybe about a mile and a half outside of the Mokuluas. That was pretty close call. Luckily, everybody was brought back to shore safely. Makapu Trail, one of our Waimānalo residents called in a possible SUPer in distress as the sun was already down. Luckily, we were able to make a visual confirmation, make contact with what turned out to be a boat, and everybody is all good. Uh, Surprisingly, we had, well, I guess not so surprisingly, another boat in distress out near Castle Point, and that was more mechanical issues. But while we were responding for the mechanical issues, somebody started to have a potential physical reaction. So it was also good that our rescue guys got out there, and was it my partner, Lieutenant Chelsea Bizik, handled it great. Like everybody always talks about, we're very grateful that HPD and the city did their sweep down at Hunananiho. We recently had multiple incidents with was it homeless folks in the bathrooms, and that would be all 3. Luckily, Dwayne, the park keeper, he's top notch, and we're very grateful for him. We had one Honu that passed away. Unfortunately, kind of one of the usual ones, wrapped up in fishing line and left on the beach. Our standard protocol for that is to call NOAA, let them know, and they come down and then they take it back and do the necropsy. Let me see. Aside from that, some basic stuff as far as our own equipment issues, which we're constantly having. Broken shower at Makapu, which Parks is, they're in the same boat with us. We're consistently calling them. Those new showers that were put in to save water have become way more of a nuisance than they have. And I'm sure you've seen the shirts that Kai made and whatnot, but we understand everybody's trying their best. And we've had, during that last spot of bad weather, we had countless things washing in. We've had multiple life jackets, random surfboards, which leads to 911 calls. And luckily, it turned out to be no one was at risk, or no one no one was missing. On a side note, down at Hunananiho, we were able to go ahead and, with the help from the city parks department, put a second container. It's a 20-foot container. Reason being, was it that 40-foot container that was donated to us by another agency had a lot of rust holes, and so it was leaking. And one of our employees ended up injuring his hand. So we're grateful to have a new one. But at the same time, I was able to talk our administration into potentially letting us hold on to that one for the time being to use as long-term storage, not only for Hunananiho, but also for Bellows and also the beach park. We're trying to anticipate the future construction when they do the bathrooms over there. So if you guys see anything new, by all means, feel free to bring it up. And I think that more or less sums up last month.
Mahalo Noyaka for your very extensive report.
Yeah.
If you could just please stand by for questions.
Yeah, no worries.
Mahalo. Do you have any members of the board online have any questions for Kia Iola? Hoku, you're recognized.
Aloha me kako. Hey, I have a question about the data that you shared. I was wondering if there's any data that indicates how many of those that were assisted were Kama'aina versus Malihini.
Unfortunately, no. Basically, what we were doing, I'll segue into a separate update as well that is actually very important. But the way our data is recorded, it's basically with a log sheet, and it's just rescues, preventative actions, all the stats that we come through. And unfortunately, no, we don't go ahead and separate local from visitor.
Mahalo, I was just asking because if there's additional funding needed that is maybe say more local versus more visitors, then that's something for the tourism industry to address safety of its visitors.
Oh yeah,
Mahalo.
that's a great point. We have been consistently in contact with the tourism authority over the last how many years. We've made countless videos. Some of those videos have made it onto Hawaiian Airlines flights. Some I'm not sure where they've gone, but we're consistently pushing forward with them to try and spread the word, especially as we've learned that drowning has become a higher and higher fatality risk for visitors and locals overall, but especially for our visitors, snorkeling primarily.
Mahalo.
Mahalo Aka. Any other members online? Hearing none. Do we have any community members online that have any questions for our Kia Iola ocean safety? Board members? Any community members here?
Yeah.
Rep, if you can please approach the mic
Go ahead.
and for the record.
Was it Kona winds when
Yep.
you said, okay.
Yes. So a lot of those incidents, the little bit bigger incidents, all occurred during that last big round of bad weather with strong Kona winds. So in anticipation for that, we're expecting, we've all seen the news reports and everything. So God willing, as long as we have the personnel, we're going to try and beef up personnel. And also at the same time, if it gets to what they're reporting, we may, and don't quote me on this, but we may have to, for the safety of the lifeguards, have to shut the towers. But that, just because you might see closed towers, does not mean that we're not. Yeah, we may be recommending them for a Makapu'u to stay at the Stone Shack, where it's a little bit sturdier and safer. But we will be responding, and we will be down there at the beaches. To double back, also one of our big things is we just started only the mobile responders, meaning the trucks, either someone like myself in a lieutenant truck or the rescue trucks. We just got iPads. We're coming into 2026, and we're hopefully slowly going to try and minimize our tree waste and pen and paper In my opinion, the best thing about this is gonna be, it's gonna be able to give everyone real-time numbers. So one of the big reasons I tried getting the information a little different this month is I want to start trying something different, and eventually, hopefully, I'm able to just send you guys real-time numbers as I come in to then speak to you guys face to face. So I'm pretty excited about it. So far, we're about maybe 4 or 5 days in, but I can't really see any drawback aside from how we're gonna charge them and how they're gonna not get damaged. But hey, we can buy more iPads.
Mahalo nui Aka. I just get I have a question and then a comment.
Yep.
Well, I'll just start with my comment first. I just want to mahalo your crew for when Kanaloa came and touched Aina, touched land in January.
That's awesome.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
when the whale carcass washed up.
Yep.
And just mahalo you folks for helping us secure and just keep everybody safe. You know, and then especially while we were the community working to Malama Kanaloa.
Oh yeah.
You know, we really appreciate you guys' help and attention.
That goes without saying, one, it's our pleasure, and two, what else we can do? Like, of course we could be there. Like, this is we're all together. But yeah, I appreciate the nice comment, and I'll pass it on to the gang.
Appreciate that, Aka. My question for you is the protocol that you mentioned earlier about contacting NOAA when when the deceased Honu was discovered.
Mhm.
Is that an official protocol
Um,
or is that just common practice?
to be honest, I would assume that it's on the books, but I would definitely have to go and ask to see if there's actually pen put to paper about it. But I just made 20 years, and since I've been in, as soon as we come up on a deceased Honu, it's been notify our dispatch, and then dispatch calls NOAA, and then their preference is to do the necropsy or the necropsy or and see how it passed away. But yeah, I wouldn't want to speak out of turn, but I will find out though.
Mahalo, and that's what I want to hear. Yeah, if we can get a grip and a grasp around exactly what the protocol is for you folks, because while I understand on the federal side what they think they have to do,
Mhm.
right, culturally and spiritually, we know what we have to do,
No,
right,
100%.
and the fact that these Honu never come back to Waimānalo
Exactly.
is an issue. Yeah, same thing like all of the whales that wash up, same thing like all of the rest of Kanaloa that wash up.
Mhm.
So I want to make sure that, and I believe we have the support of the community to ensure that, we malama our kuleana here.
No, 100%, and
I appreciate that.
I'm on board. I think this is actually the start of a good conversation, and I know I've left my phone number in the past, but I'll go ahead and rewrite it. So definitely shoot me a text, and then we can talk on the side about it, and I'll have something official to bring back to you by next month.
Appreciate that fully. Mahalo again.
No problem.
Yeah, and mahalo for your service to our community.
Thank you guys. Sorry, it's been a long day. I've been on the water on the ski. We're kind of trying to get everything up to par, ready for this. Hopefully, keep everybody safe.
Appreciate that, Aka.
Aloha, guys.
Aloha. Be safe out there. All right, Kako, moving on with our agenda this evening, public agencies report. Up next is Board of Water Supply. Do we have Danielle online? All right,
Hi, good evening.
Hello.
Danielle Ornelas with Board of Water.
you have the floor.
Alrighty, thank you. So for last month, we have just one recorded water main break. This pipe was a 4-inch pipe installed in 1957. And the message from Board of Water is March 22nd. It's a Sunday, is World Water Day, and the board asks those people interested to join us in awareness of the United Nations World Water Day. This is an observance to raise awareness about the 2.2 billion people living without access to safe water. This year's theme is Where Water Flows, Equality Grows. If you check our website at boardofwatersupply.com and also our social media pages from now through throughout to the 22nd. We have inspiring stories and videos about the global water crisis. And then I had an update for Kim Yona, because he did ask regarding if we could get Ernie Lau manager, and in response to, there were some charter votes that he had some questions about. But I guess they've been playing phone tag, and whenever you guys are ready, he said if you can just get them on the agenda and contact us, because he's willing to come down and speak, with everyone there. And in regard to any questions you folks have, whether it be anything, water rates, water, fire ants, anything needed, any questions that anyone may have. Anyway, that's all I have tonight.
Mahalo nui, Danielle, for the report. And if you can please stand by for some questions.
Yes.
Board members online, do we have anyone with questions for Board of Water Supply? Seeing none. Okay, then do we have any members of the public for with any questions, concerns, or comments? Councilwoman Esther, you are recognized. No, it's not Esther? Hello, Mai. Oh, hearing and seeing none. Any board members in person? If you can please state your name.
Hi, this is Canela Kamalanilai, Board at Large Treasurer. My question for you, Danella, we've been hearing talks from the community that we are no longer a part of the Red Hill conversation. Is the Board of Water Supply still part of that conversation with the Red Hill pollution?
From what I've heard recently, in fact, so most recently last week, is that the Navy has not been coming to any of the meetings, although Board of Water is there. The Navy has declined to come to these meetings now. I can get you more information, and I'm hoping that Ernie that's a good question to ask directly our manager. He is our spearhead, and he is, he is the one who knows all of this.
Okay, mahalo.
Mahalo, Danielle. If we can turn our attention back to the community member online, I believe Esther Lafaele, you're recognized. If you can please unmute.
My name is Esther Lafaele.
Aloha.
Aloha. Thank you for having me. This is my first board meeting I'm attending. But my question is, hopefully Danielle with board can help answer or steer me in the right direction. My concern is with the E&V department sewer. And I'm not sure who else or how many other community members or residents or homeowners in Waimānalo are going through the same issue. But I have recently been hit with a really large back charge in sewer fees. And I'm talking 3 years. And I'm just trying to get some resolve, and no one from ENB has been contacting me. I've also contacted Esther Kia'aina's office to no resolve there either. I just need some sort of direction, and if there's any other Waimānalo residents that are going through the same issues as I am.
Mahalo, Esther, for your question.
Okay, so
go ahead, Danielle.
yeah, so I do work in the collections department at Board of Water. We have been getting several back charged environmental billing added to the water because we bill together. However, they do their own billing. They just send it to us. we just sent out the bill. Any questions that we've been getting from people that have been getting this high back bill, and they are enormous, I know. We just refer them to call back ENV. Yeah, and any discrepancy or adjustments are done through ENV, although Board of Water does handle the billing. But as long as you keep trying to call them, let me look for some other numbers and get back to you to see if there's anyone more direct you could speak with. I don't have any names right now offhand.
Yeah, thank you, Danielle.
Mhm.
My issue has actually been going on since September of last year when we first got hit with the threat. They threatened to shut off our water. That was when we first realized that we weren't being charged for the last 3 years. And so I've been online sending complaints to the city and county, Esther Kia Aina's office. I've also been working with Action Line to try and get some sort of resolve. ENB is just not, they're quiet. No one's been getting back to me.
Okay.
And Board of Water has been very supportive and very cooperative. I just want to add that.
Mahalo nui, Esther. What we can do tonight is we can also add it to the mayor's report in hopes that we can elevate this directly to the mayor for an expedited response and hopefully get you answers by next month's meeting. I just saw, I believe, Council Member Kia Aina's hand go up. And if so, Councilwoman, you are recognized.
Thank you so much. Esther, there have been other people in Waimānalo who has been impacted, and all of them are working on a repayment plan with ENV. So my understanding is that is the same with your situation. So there's two things going on. When you say resolve, I don't know what you're talking about. Are you saying you don't want to pay the back charges? Because I need to let you know, to my knowledge, you are the only one with back charges who is not willing to work out a repayment plan. Everybody in Waimānalo are equally upset as you for what happened with regard to charging you now. But my understanding is they are working on a long-term repayment plan so that the charges would not be disproportionately impacting you. So that is the resolution that ENV is proposing. So I just want to make clear, if there is a lack of understanding that you're expecting something for them to discharge the back payment, that's not going to happen.
Mahalo, Councilwoman. This is Kuike. I'm just going to jump in right here and just state that, if we can, I appreciate your response, Councilwoman. Esther, I appreciate your questions for BWS, but if we can please address any comments to the chair, and just so we can maintain quorum. Yeah, and so I appreciate everyone's.
Thank you for that clarification, Chair.
Mahalo nui. Esther, Rafaela, do you have a last comment to close this up? I see that Danielle from BWS left a comment in the chat.
I have no further comments. I understand where Representative Kia Aina's coming from. But I would like to get some sort of response back from ENB. Not no threat letter, not no bullying going on. You know, they sort of cornered me into shutting my water off right off the bat. 3 years of them not taking care of what they should be doing. It's not my fault. So I just want to know if there's any other residents, and Kia Aina did say that there are a lot of residents. I did work out a payment plan, but I'm looking for accountability. I'm looking for, staffing to take some sort of accountability, because I did whatever I needed to do once my home was built. Was I called down to the department and let them know that we were done, the building permit had closed, and that we were now connected to the city sewer. That was all I was told to do in 2022. We're in 2026, and I mean, how can you not see this for 3 whole years? Is what I'm upset about. But
Mahalo nui. Yeah. Mahalo nui. Duly noted. And as I mentioned moments earlier, I will make sure that this is added to the mayor's report as well, so we can elevate it from our position here at the neighborhood board. Do we have any further comments from community members online or in person for Board of Water Supply? Okay, hearing and seeing none. Mahalo nui again for the dialogue. Danielle, mahalo nui for your service to our community. And then I had one question. We have Oku Akana, Board Member Akana. You recognize.
Yeah, I just wanted to piggyback, and I would also like to be interested as far as informed as how a bill could go that long without being documented somewhere, because I've been in that situation too as a Waimānalo resident, where a bill, and you really feel as a resident that you have no choice but to pay. They're going to shut your water, so you have to pay it. But it does seem a little callous or taken for granted that they're just going to fall down and fall in line when there's no addressing it, or at least me to the community publicly. Mahalo.
I mahalo nui for your comment. I feel the same way, and let's take it up during the mayor's report. Danielle, before I let you go, I
Yeah.
just want to mahalo you again for your service to our community, and then I had one question. In your follow-up about Director Lau and his availability, what
Yes.
kind of lead time would you folks need when inviting Director Lau to have a dialogue with us at the neighborhood board?
Well, at the last meeting before the February one got postponed or canceled, we did discuss it. And I went back to the office the very next day, and then secretaries, they're ready to go, and he's very
Appreciate it.
flexible, and he's a real, he loves to talk, and whatever you want to know, and he loves to share. I'm almost positive next meeting will be fine, because the way they called me this morning to let me know to bring this message to you guys. They just need to go, and they just want some agenda time. They wanted to jump on with me, but I told them, well, I wasn't sure because Kimiona wasn't going to be there, and I didn't want, I think they want to be right there in person, as well. So yeah, next month I don't think they need much time, basically.
Okay, I got it. Mahalo nui. I'll make sure I relay that to Chair Kane. Appreciate you,
And then
Danielle.
one more thing. If you
Go
guys
ahead.
have any other questions, yeah, especially regarding this ENV, we have hundreds and hundreds and people calling us regarding what's happening with a lot of these people back billed. Yeah, so just if you have any questions, or send me your address, I can do what I can on my side, and I'll get you the exact person's name who we've been forwarding these questions and back bill issues to.
Mahalo.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
appreciate that. And Chair would like to just leave a comment that I do believe that the concerns that Hoku has raised and Esther has raised is super valid. To go on for several years, believing that you've done everything that you needed to do to be in compliance, and then to be slapped with, or to find out through mail, that your connection to clean water, is being threatened. I just want to point out that March 22nd is International or World Water Day. Yeah, that comment, the statement you just made, right, where the water flows, equity follows. I just want to, make sure that there's equity here for the residents of Waimānalo and, quite frankly, the beneficiaries of that public trust. Board of Water Supply does not own the water. It's a public trust. Yeah, and we entrust you folks to ensure, that your constituents, that the beneficiaries of said trust are taken care of. So the failure in that trust responsibility, that burden is on the department and not the consumer. So I'm going to leave my comment there as chair this evening, and just mahalo you again for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Mahalo. Next up, Mayor Blanchiardi's report. Do we have Director Thielen online?
Yes, I'm
Aloha,
here. Can you hear
Director,
me?
You have the floor.
Aloha. Can you hear me all right?
Loud and clear.
Great. Thank you. So I had a list of questions from I guess 2 months ago now, because the last meeting got canceled for the storm. One was about the flood zone, because the FEMA flood maps have changed and more property owners are now being impacted and being required to get flood insurance by the federal government. And one of the questions was, what is the city doing to help residents be able to afford the flood insurance? So the city, what it did is it joined FEMA's National Flood Insurance Program, or the NFIP, a community rating system. So it's a voluntary program that the local governments can sign up for and participate in. It rewards strong floodplain management practices with discounts on flood insurance premiums. So the city will take on responsibility for helping to increase the work on managing flood areas. In exchange, residents can then get a 10% reduction in their annual premiums for flood insurance. Plus, the city will do more work on the flood control. So, as a result of the city joining that program and committing to doing additional work, the Honolulu residents can get a 10% reduction in their flood premiums to help ease the burden of the insurance costs. So the city's been doing a lot of outreach about this program, but then sometimes, everybody's busy and they can't always make the outreach. So they have more information on the city website. It's resilientoahu.org, and it's Get Flood Ready. And you could probably just Google Get Flood Ready Oahu, and it'll take you to that website, and you could get more information about how to get the information so that when you contact your insurance agent, you can be eligible for the reduction. Another question was, because of the restriction on fireworks, we were asked if the city can host licensed fireworks shows to honor cultural traditions safely. So the city doesn't host fireworks shows according to the mayor's Office on Culture and the Arts. But what the city does do is it permits and allows organizations to go forward with fireworks shows. And so different organizations at the city will work with an applicant. So I know a number have come on into the Parks Department. I think Patty Taruya is doing one out on the Leeward Coast. There was a Chinatown celebration for the New Year recently, and other organizations as well that will have fireworks displays. And so whatever city agency, like if it's in a park, the park department, if it's, in the Chinatown, it was a street permit. So it was Department of Transportation Safety will help the applicant work through the permitting process. And usually the permitting process really is dealing with fire safety and HFD requirements to make sure that we don't have any fires accidentally starting as a result. Another question had to do with permits for field use and gym use at the parks and whether the city can prioritize youth activities. And so DPR does have a variety of ways that they permit for fields. And the department's conducted 4 meetings with a representative group of different field user athletic leagues and organizations from around the island in different sports. And one of the requests it received is to have some consistent permitting process. So the staff have come up with a process that's kind of modeled after the areas of the park department that will have a field user meeting. And Waimānalo is one of the districts that has field user meetings. And the Waimānalo meeting will be coming up in May or early June to schedule field use beginning August 1 through the beginning of 2027. So the standard process that we're going to be testing out does make it clear that there's kind of a ranking for applicants, and youth activities is at the top of the ranking, along with department activities and like things like the Police Athletic League that are also for youth groups. And then there was a last question was about Good Samaritan and caretaking of parks and fields. We do have an Adopt a Park program at the Department of Parks and Recreation, and you can Google Adopt a Park and go online and you can get information about that and contact people. And you can also talk to the Park Grounds Maintenance Supervisor for Waimānalo, Keali'i Arakaki. And his email is keali'i.arakaki@honolulu.gov. We do have some requirements for folks that want to do work on athletic fields because there has been a lot of good, well-meaning people that have wanted to do work, but they've ended up accidentally tearing up a field, maybe because they're not used to using heavy equipment, or they're going on when the fields are kind of soggy and muddy, and then they get really large ruts in them. So we ask that the groups work with us just to make sure that there isn't any accidental damage to the field. And then that was it for the questions. But the other thing I did want to note is because of the storm coming in, which you folks have already talked about earlier, the city is putting out just some notices to people to remind them, you know, please keep yourself safe. Do not enter streams or drainage ditches or flooded areas. And then as another, when you have hazard, large debris, sometimes trees will come down. Please leave, you know, hazardous cleanup for trained crews, and you can call, we have a mobile app for the city, Honolulu HNL 311, and you can take a picture with your cell phone of what, you know, the problem is, and people will come on out and work on that. There is, during these storm events, you know, there's a lot of trees that are going down. So the city does have a lot of arborists through the Park Department, Urban Forestry Division, that they will be going out, and we'll have crews out there along with the Department of Facility Maintenance. What they'll normally do is, you know, prioritize the downed trees. They have a central command at the city emergency center. So the police will be calling in, the fire department, they'll get notices in through this HNL 311, and they'll dispatch people. There's about, you know, 20 arborists and crews from DFM. And often what they'll do is they'll cut trees up and move them over to the side out of the roadways and prioritize the roadways first, and then leave things like parks and other areas cordoned off so people don't go where it's unsafe, but try to keep safe passage going because you may need emergency vehicles and other things like that. So sometimes with storm response, it may take, you know, depending on how bad the storm is, you know, a week or so to get out through the parks or other areas and get everything cleaned up. So we appreciate the patience, and I'd be happy to take any questions.
Mahalo nui, Director. If you could please stand by, I appreciate it. Any members of the board online that have any questions for Director Thielen and our mayor's report? Member Wong, you're recognized.
Director Thielen, thank you for your report. We submitted the signage request for Waimānalo a few months back. I was wondering how that was going. The board submitted that.
Yeah, it's, so I had sent the information to Jason Wool, who's the district manager for the area, and he said that most of those signs wouldn't be an issue, so they were putting in sign requests. I can follow up with that and get an answer for you next month.
Thank you.
Mahalo nui. Any other members online? Board members online? Okay. Member Akana, you're recognized.
Aloha. It's been a bit since I was asked, or I asked about this a few years ago, but I see that the pavilion at the district park is going up very nicely. Is there like, I'm assuming it's still through Lara Thielen's office. Is there any way we could get a visual update on how that's going and a timeline? Mahalo.
Yes, sorry, let me pull that up. So the pavilion construction is going on, and we are also moving forward with the design for the bathrooms. Here we go. Shoot. All right, well, I know that I'm sorry, I don't have that email. I'm not able to pull it up right now, but the construction, gosh, if I get nervous about saying this, I think the construction for the pavilion should be done by this summer, but I will come back next month and I'll have the actual dates for that.
Mahalo. We would appreciate that because it looks lovely from the street, and I'm sure the families are looking forward to using it.
I'm really glad to hear that. Thank you.
Mahalo hoku. Any other board members online? Questions for the mayor's report? Hearing and seeing none, do we have any members of the public online that have any questions for the mayor's report? Hearing and seeing none. Board members in person? Go ahead.
Aloha, this is Kanala Kamal board member. Thank you, Director Thalen. I believe those are all my questions from January, so thank you for answering them. One question, I'm not too sure if it's the mayor or city and county, but it was brought up, I think in January, with those lights that are flashing by Makapu and Sandy's, the blue lights. I did have a community member, not from Waimānalo, but from Kaneohe, which actually almost experienced a seizure coming around the bend with the lights flashing. So she was just asking if there's a possibility for the lights to stop flashing, or if it could just be like a solid blue color.
Is this, I'm not sure what you're referring to. Is it those things like
the standalone HPD cameras that are at the Makapu and the lookouts, yes, by
Okay.
Sandy's. And
Alona, Makapu'u.
thank you.
I thought I'll go and double check, but I thought the ones that they had at Halona were temporary. Are they still there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Or if like I see that it's getting lowered, but I believe that one mom that had a seizure and had to have her underage daughter drive, the flashing was a little bit too much for her. So she said even if you need to keep it there, because I let her know it's cameras to help keep that parking lot safe. If you guys could just try to see if it could just see a solid color would be a suggestion for them.
Sure, we will ask about that. My understanding is it's a vendor and it's some type of yeah, but let me find out about whether they can have the light just be a solid blue as opposed to flashing blue.
Thank you so much.
Director, it's just quick, and just to follow up on that, if you can please have an update on the timeline on how temporary those temporary structures will be, in our community. I know HPD reported last year, and then it was supposed to be temporary, and I believe only until the first quarter of this year. However, we would like an update.
Okay.
Mahalo. If you can please stand by for more questions. Do we have any members of the community? Any questions for the mayor? Oh, okay. Canela, go ahead.
Sorry, thank you, Director. Would we be able to just like get a clear purpose of why those standalones are at the blowhole in those locations? Just so like community understands the purpose for it. So if it does come back into the conversation, at least we'll have like a knowledge instead of just seeing it there.
My understanding is that they're taking wireless film, that we're recording it, and that in the event, because of the high amount of break-ins at the vehicles, so that they're using the film, in case anything is broken into, to see if they can find out who did it and have any evidence to take action.
Thank you, Director. Amen.
Director, this is Quickie again, and I just have a follow-up question on that. Since the towers are there to collect data, yeah, can we also utilize the data that it's collecting because it's filming everything that moves on the amount or the size of the feral cat population that's in these spaces harming the native birds? We would love that data so we can utilize that data for community priorities. So again, if they're using public funds in public spaces, we would love to collaborate as a community concerned about our native bird population and hopefully access this data at some point in time, sooner than later.
Well, that's an interesting question, and it's really good. I will find out.
Appreciate that. I have a few questions of my own. Let's go back to the beginning of the presentation about the flood insurance. Yeah, you said that the city will offer 10% reduction in the annual flood premiums. Is that correct?
I think it's saying here is that because the city has joined the National Flood Insurance Program, then residents are eligible for a 10% reduction in annual premiums.
Okay. Mahalo. My question is on that exactly. What is the 10% based on? What population is that based on? Yeah, because the cost of living in Hawaii is much different from the cost of living in Alabama. Yeah, or Texas, where it often floods. So my question is, first of all, I just want to mahalo the city for even considering this, yeah, and joining that federal program. But are we basing these average premiums off of a federal flood landscape or a local flood landscape?
So just from what I'm reading on the write-up, the requirement when FEMA does map these flood areas is to get flood insurance, that
Correct.
people need to contact their private insurance company for getting insurance coverage. And then because the city is a member of this national program, people should be eligible for a reduction on the annual premiums. So I think that would be depending on the private insurance companies, what they would charge. And you're right, it may be different in different states.
Yeah, because like health insurance, yeah, the private insurance for homes and cars are actually based on the national average, which doesn't necessarily align with the fiduciary needs of our local communities. So my recommendation is, well, first of all, again, comment, mahalo. Mahalo for considering joining the program. That way we can provide subsidies for our local residents here. Two, that's one. Two, is it in the mayor's purview to consider, yeah, adding another subsidy to match that 10% from the federal government? Because I'm only concerned about our community here in Waimānalo. Much of the folks who live in this flood-prone area cannot afford home insurance. Yeah, and now the added mandated flood insurance. Yeah, it's going to be an added cost to the living. I live in a multi-generational home where only 2 of us really work. There's 12 members in our home, 6 adults, 6 children. And only 2 of us adults work. So it's an added burden to the cost of living, and that's why I raise these concerns and my questions. So just mahalo. If we can just park it there, and then if you can report back I'm open to having further dialogue offline as well, Director. So just
Okay.
mark for that.
No,
Next
we'll take the question. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Next question I have is in the presentation you did, the comments you made about the fireworks, and I understand the city's kuleana. You guys don't sponsor, you guys don't put on fireworks shows, and what you guys do is permitting. My question is within the permitting process, are you guys acknowledging and recognizing Native Hawaiian cultural practices? And how are you guys permitting these Native Hawaiian cultural practices to happen? Because in Article 12, Section 7, these customary rights are protected by the state's constitution. So we have a constitutional and a statutory obligation to ensure that these customary practices of Native Hawaiians are protected. I'm going to give you one example. The cultural practice of oahi, okina o kahako a hei, oahi, is the practice of Hawaiian fireworks. More specifically, we can cite practices out in Makana and Kauai. This is when the practitioner would climb up, the cliff and then light these papala dry logs on fire, chuck them off, and then the wind would carry them out to the ocean. Hordes of people would line up with canoes or on the shorelines to watch this firework display. As the wind would carry this across the ocean, they would explode like fireworks. These customary practices happen during really specific events, arrivals of ali'i, unikis of halal, the coming of age of kane, celebrating families. These are all pretty much what the current firework lighting and popping in our neighborhoods. These are exactly what these families are celebrating. So I don't condone that practice. However, I'm just saying, where in the city's permitting practice do you folks acknowledge and adhere to the constitutional obligations? So I'm going to park that there for you, Director. And I look forward to a response. I have one more questions for you. One more question for you, and hopefully I stop there. Mahalo again for your advocacy in getting the pavilion at Waimānalo Beach Park updated, and as well as ensuring that the community's voice is woven into the design. I appreciate that. One concern that I want to elevate: Hawaiian parties, growing up, I've seen them exceed 1,000 people. There isn't a venue in Waimānalo that can hold that kind of people. I know, I'm not going to make any assumptions, but as the parks director, you just have to know that when the beneficiaries of the Hawaiian Homes Commissions Act of 1920 out on the west side, the largest population of Native Hawaiians in the world, when they celebrate themselves, whether it's a luau, po'oleva, graduation at Ke'au Beach Park, they apply for the camping permit, and those camping permits only allow up to 10. However, more often than not, these gatherings host upwards of 600 to 700 people, because that is how Kanaka celebrate each other. We do not have a venue in Waimānalo, but may I remind you, that the trust obligation that the city has to the beneficiaries of the 1920 Hawaiian Homes Commissions Act, by leasing, by having a license agreement to use our aina, which is the beach park all the way to Makapu'u, the obligation of the city and county is to ensure that these spaces are available recreationally for said beneficiaries. In your folks' permitting process, do you folks acknowledge and allow ohana to have family reunions, to have family celebrations of that scale in these spaces that belong to them according to a federal law? One, two, how do we, if that's in fact so, how do we simplify that process? So the average Kanaka, the average blue collar worker who busy all day, and they often power work after the permitting office close, how can they access this space So then they are then protected from the law and don't have to fear being shut down by HPD, all because the city and county did not rise to the occasion to malama the constitutional and statutory obligations of these people. That's a lot of words, and I apologize. So my question is does the city and county currently acknowledge the need, the necessary obligation to make sure that these beneficiaries are cared for in that scale?
Yes. I think when you're talking about an event of that size, because it impacts so many people, and when they come out to that area, they're going to need to have an ability to go to the bathroom, take care of other things like that. We do work with people for large events to make sure that there's facilities and space available, and then try to work on the timing, because if you have a large baseball activity taking place at the same time, sometimes it can be too much. So to try and work with people to make sure that there's space available for the activities. So there's a lot of that work that happens behind the scenes. We worked with people during the annual canoe sailing festival to be able to have the camping to monitor their canoes and to stay together during that event when they landed at Waimānalo Beach Park and also out in Haleiwa. We work with large groups out at Kualoa Regional Park for many of the festivals. And, as you mentioned, out on the Leeward Coast as well. I'm sure we can always improve. As you mentioned, people are working during the day, and sometimes it's hard to do, and we need to be more available. But we do a lot of this work over the phone with folks. And we just have thousands and thousands of large events taking place around the island at parks every year.
Mahalo, Director, and I recognize and acknowledge that. However, I don't believe that answers my question, because I'm speaking specifically for the individual Hawaiian ohana. Yeah, not an organized event that is open for the broader community to land their canoes on Waimānalo Beach. To me, that's a totally separate permitting process. Yeah, so I'll go give you one example. I called the permitting process here. I called the permitting office here in Waimānalo at the gym, and the kind lady answered, and long story short, she said, "Oh, we don't do that. You got to call the office in Honolulu." So I called the office in Honolulu. I talked to them. "Oh, we don't do that." Just like, "What kind of event is it?" I said, "It's a family reunion." And they said, "Huh. Well, we don't necessarily give permits for family reunions because we either do camping over there or we do larger events. So do you have a nonprofit?" I said, "That's not what I'm inquiring about." So maybe let me specify my question. What are the mechanisms in which Native Hawaiian Ohana, the beneficiaries of the land in which you guys have a license agreement to use, can access these spaces as a resource when it comes to celebrating themselves and their ohana? And Director, I don't need that answer from you tonight, but maybe you can come back next month and report back. And I really appreciate that. I'm not putting this on you. The reason why I'm sharing it here in the mayor's report, because this actually should be a priority of the mayor. All of the beachfront property that you guys have a license agreement to use is in excess of $22 million. This is $22 million of beachfront property that the Native Hawaiians, rightfully so, was set aside for us to use. Yet you folks use it for the general public. Yeah, it's used to attract, according to Mr. Beach in 2010, it's used to attract tourism. We cannot even be Kanaka in our own space. These lands were set aside in accordance to the 1920 Hawaiian Homes Commissions Act for the betterment and lives of Native Hawaiians, for rehabilitation. And how can we do that if there's a permitting process that inhibits us from accessing this resource that was set aside by a federal law? Put that aside. Just mahalo you for your time, Director. And I can give you the opportunity to respond, but if not, all good.
I'll come back with a more thorough answer, but I will say I apologize because you were given the wrong information by those staff. You do not need to be a nonprofit, and they should have worked with you for permitting your activity. But I'll come back with more information for the larger question next month.
I appreciate you very much, Director. If make it really quick, Director, we have one more question.
Thank you, Director. This is Canela board member. Could you also follow up on, so Kuika's, I have a graduation coming up and my mom has 22 grandkids. So 10 sites, 10 people per site, that would be $5,200. I would have to pay city and county to try and get camping permits to allow my family to be at Waimānalo Beach Park to camp. So to tag that on, if you guys can find a way to help the beneficiaries maybe get a discount or a defer where we don't need to pay that much just to like camp for 5 days at Waimānalo, that would be really helpful. Thank you.
Mahalo
Thank you,
nui,
Chair.
Director, for your service to our community. I do believe your heart and your aloha is here with us, especially being a member of this community. So again, mahalo nui for your service. Moving on with our agenda this evening, do we have Casey Abe from State Department of Transportation?
Yes, good evening, Vice Chair Kamakia, or hello, members of the Waimānalo Neighborhood Board. Excuse me. Okay, KCI from the State DOT Highways. At January's meeting, I mentioned I bumped into the homeowner at 41668 Kalani on the highway, Ms. Choi Fu, and she requested we clean the drain inlet at Nalu Street intersection that was covered with overgrowth. Working with our maintenance crew, they cleared the overgrowth on January 5th. Also back in July of last year, Ms. Choi Fu requested we install delineators to help guide motorists making the right turn from Nalu Street onto Kalani on the highway going westbound so they don't hit the concrete head wall that protects the drain inlet. During my February field inspection, I was happy to see our maintenance crew finally install the white delineator post. During my recent field inspection, I was happy to see our maintenance crew finally repair the tripping hazard on the existing concrete sidewalk along Colonial Highway near Kumuhau Street. And our maintenance crew finally installed the new rectangular rapid flashing beacon and pedestrian push buttons on the two pedestrian crossing signposts at Nakini Street going westbound on Kalanian Highway. But during my recent field inspection, I noticed electrical wires hanging from the utility pole near Nalu Street, and the homeless moved some of their belongings adjacent to our guardrail located in Makai of 41692 Kalanian Highway. Trash from another homeless encampment located in Makai of 41706 Kalanian Highway, and one of our rectangular rapid flashing beacon pedestrian crossing sign at Morley Street was damaged. I'll work with our maintenance crew and homeless coordinator on addressing these concerns. At the January's meeting, I thank board member Ralston for his December 3rd email and galaxy pictures that shows 3 locations on the Makai side of Knowledge Street that is experiencing erosion problems due to the rainwater runoff from the pavement on Colonial Highway. I also mentioned that our district maintenance office hopes to get the contractor on board by the end of March to make the necessary repairs. But at January's meeting, there was a request to see our proposed plan to fix the erosion so the board can provide their input. This slide shows a sketch drawing developed by our in-house geotechnical engineer who has proposed a temporary fix to the erosion problem caused by the rainwater runoff. Our administration hopes that the board understands that this is only a temporary fix, so hopefully the neighborhood board will understand that their input is not required at this time. We currently have a temporary fix using similar design for the shoreline erosion problem along Colonial Highway eastbound, just past Makapu'u Beach across Oceanic Institute. The pictures in this slide was taken this morning, and I noticed the growing sinkhole, so I would need to work with our geotechnical engineer to see how we can slow down the erosion as it gets closer to our existing paved shoulder and guardrail system. I'll be working with our administration to request for funding in next year's legislative session to hire a consultant to help us develop a midterm fix that will address shoreline erosion and sea level rise from Waimānalo to Makapu'u Beach Park. I'm not sure what the long-term fix will be, but it may require us to move the existing highway inland, like the Honopilani Highway on Maui. We hope our state elected officials, whose area includes Waimānalo to Makapu'u Beach Park, will support our funding request at next year's legislative session. And we will work closely with the Waimānalo Neighborhood Board on this very sensitive issue, since sea level rise and shoreline erosion will affect Kamehameha Highway and the residents living along the highway. And finally, at the June 2025 Neighborhood Board meeting, I mentioned that Board Member Ralston expressed his concern about an existing gap between the guardrail and end treatments on the Makai side of 41668 Kalani Highway, where Ms. Choi Fu lives. At the July 2025 meeting, I mentioned our maintenance crew installed a crash barrel that temporarily reduced the gap to prevent vehicles from parking. Well, on Monday, March 3rd, I received a call from Ms. Choi Fu asking if we can close the existing beach access located in Makai of her home because she and her husband have seen four-wheel bikers move the yellow crash barrel to access the beach with their four-wheel bikes. She and her husband tried to explain to the bikers that they should access the beach from Waimānalo Park, but they did not listen. I told Ms. Choi Fu that we need to have the neighborhood board's approval to close the beach access, but I understand her concern because the beach access does not have any crosswalk markings, which is like the existing beach access located Makai of 41-686 Kalani Highway that also does not have any crosswalk markings. Also, adjacent to her beach access, we are experiencing erosion from the rainwater runoff from Kalani Highway. The interesting part of this situation is that between the two beach access openings, there is an existing crosswalk at the Nalu Street that does not have an existing beach access through the existing guardrail system. I mentioned to Ms. Choi Fu that per her previous request last year, we already have the Waimānalo Neighborhood Board's approval to provide beach access at the existing Nalu Street crosswalk and to replace the existing crosswalk at Nalu Street with a raised crosswalk to help slow down vehicles who are speeding. So I told Ms. Choi Fu that I will present her request to the neighborhood board at their meeting tonight and ask the board to discuss and vote on her request of closing the existing beach access across her home. But I also want to ask the board if they want us to keep open or close the other existing beach access, Makai of 41686 Kalani Highway, since the access does not have a crosswalk marking like Ms. Choi Fu's location. The board can discuss these two requests and let me know at the next neighborhood board or via email or letter. This concludes my report. I can take any questions at this time.
Mahalo nui, Casey. Please stand by. Appreciate you and your report. Do you have any members of the board online that have any questions for State DOT? Do you have any members of the public online? Any questions, concerns for State DOT? Board member? Do we have any members from the community? Please approach the mic. Mahalo nui. And for the record, state your name, please.
Lisa Martin, State Rep. Aloha, Casey. Thank you for that report. And yes, of course, I will support your budget next year. But I wanted to follow up on my request for the trees along the 50-foot setback along the highway. That conversation has gone cold, and I want it to be restarted.
Okay, I'll check on that, Representative Martin, on their trees. I have
Okay.
to work with our deputy director.
All right. Thank you.
Mahalo nui. Do we have any further questions, concerns, comments from the public? Casey, this is Kuike. I just have two questions for you. First of all, mahalo nui for the follow-up. Again, I just want to point out for our board members and community members, just want to appreciate Casey so much. From my communications with other neighborhood boards, they don't have the same attention that Waimānalo has from the state DOT. So I just want to mahalo you, Casey, and Director Sniffen, for your special attention to Waimānalo. And if you can please elevate that to him as a mahalo from our community.
Thank you very much.
Mahalo nui. I have a few questions, and if you can follow up. At the intersection of Huli and Kalaniaole Highway, there's that corner lot on the Kailua side. the power lines or the communication lines are hanging pretty low. Yeah, which to me would prevent that corner lot from accessing the back part of their property, which actually they do have a driveway behind the house. The house right now is dilapidated because it burnt down several years ago. However, I just want to make sure that we place some attention there so we can begin mitigation measures. That's one. Two, my recommendation, if you can take this back for deliberation, is any road work in Waimānalo that's along the coastline, if we can ensure that in all the conversations, we elevate this community's concern to include cultural monitors in any of the road work, because the roads are built on sand dunes. Historically, in Waimānalo, these sand dunes housed our ivikupuna. And we know this, especially, out at Kaupo, with one of the pictures, the slides there, the erosion, Baby Makapu, Cockroach Bay. I've personally re-interned kupuna there. Yeah. And then we know over here, the Halauva'a Beach Park in Waimānalo across Willie Street and Kalaniaunoole. Yeah, we know there's record of Iwi Kupuna right there where the orange fences are. So the road, the King's Highway, was built on the sand dunes. We want to make sure that with the highest integrity, we malama our Iwi Kupuna. So if you can please elevate that to include in any of the inspection work and any of the site work cultural monitors. And if you can't find appropriate cultural monitors, if you can please reach out to Chair Kane, and I'm sure he can point you in the right direction. So those are my two concerns. Just want to mahalo you again, Casey, for serving our community, and we truly appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on with our agenda this evening, Kako. We're looking to fill 2 vacancies on the board, 2 at-large vacancies. If there's anybody interested, you can reach out to Chair Kane, or just reach out to Chair Kane. Do you have anybody in person tonight interested in serving on the board? It's volunteer. I promise we're friendly. Okay, not tonight, maybe next month. So I appreciate you guys. Members of the board, do we have any names that you guys want to recommend? Hearing and seeing none. Moving on. Next up on our agenda item 5, community organization reports. These reports are 3 minutes each. So first up, under sub A, education reports. Do we have a representative from Waimānalo Elementary and Intermediate School? Hearing and seeing none. Do we have a representative from Blanche Pope Elementary or Kulakaipuni Waimānalo? Hearing and seeing none. Do we have a representative from Malamohonua Public Charter School? Hearing and seeing none. Do we have a representative from Kulakaipuni o Kailua? Popo, is that?
Evo.
Okay, you're recognized. Go ahead.
Aloha mai kako. I am the Kumukaipuni for Kailua High School. We are actively working to encourage the pipeline that is coming forth from Blanche Pope, Kulakaipuni o Waimānalo, which I believe we have parents there who will speak on that during the concerns portion. But we are trying to help improve communication and make our concerns consistently noted so that I believe elevating it as a community concern, because we have a Kulakayapuni that goes from pre-K to 6, and this will be our second 6th grade class. The first one got lost because there was no pathway that was clear and easy. And so this is the second one that they will speak about, but it's an ongoing thing that our community, I believe we would want to support, because I'm aware that there are at least 5 Olelo Hawaii speaking people on our board. And in addition to that, we have a number of people in our community. Mamake nui kako e olelo Hawaii I ke kaiaulu. So in order to hapai that mana'o, I believe it's an important issue to ensure that the continuity of our school spaces continue to malama olelo Hawaii. Mahalo.
Mahalo nui hoku.
Oh, wait, one more thing.
Go ahead.
My po'o kula is there, although it's not been agendized. I did want to, I believe our po'o kula Jill is sitting in the audience and she would like to, she's there to see what the other po'o share and perhaps share some mana'o. This would be the first time since Kailua has been at the neighborhood board in years. Mahalo.
Mahalo nui hoku. Hokumu, if you, I will recognize you and give you a few minutes to share. If you can please state your name and your kuleana.
Aloha, I'm Jill Spry. I'm the principal and po'okumu of Kailua High School, Kekula, Kaiapuni o Kailua. Just want to share, we're very fortunate to have Hoku on board this year, and her vision and passion has been so inspiring. It is my first year there, even though I'm an alum and I taught at Kailua for 18 years. This is a new program or recent program, and I really want to support it. So we're working with the complex area superintendent to see how we can, what are ways we can be creative, whether we have them stay at Hope for 7th and 8th grade, or do we have them come up to our school, our campus, and Hoku is amazing. So we could get them going there. So we're open to things. And I'm just thankful that I could be here today and hear any concerns or questions you might have.
Mahalo nui po'okumu. I just want to just mahalo you for your service to our community. 18 years at Kailua is a lifetime. So just mahalo nui for your dedication to our community. 1, 2, congratulations on the states football, yeah? So ho'omai ka ia oko. Yeah, congratulations for bringing on that ship. Stay there and just stand by for any questions. Do we have any questions from the members on board members online? Ole, do we have any questions, concerns, mana'o, from our community members online? Hearing and seeing none. Board members? If you could be specific, if it's for Po'okumu or Hopu.
Yes.
Okay, mahalo.
Yes. Would you like Kailua High School to be added onto our agenda?
Oh, yes, please.
Yes.
You know, and because Kailua High School is already on our agenda, I think we would just continue it for continuity. Yes, mahalo. Any questions or concerns from our members of our community? You can please approach the mic and state your name for the record.
Aloha, I'm Maile Nuuhiwa Santos, lifetime member of Waimānalo, born and raised. I've been the past 8 years. I've had a keiki 6 to 7 years. Sorry, I have a keiki in Kaiapuni at Waimānalo, Blanche Pope, and my concern is he is in the 6th grade, and my concern is he will be transitioning into 7th and 8th grade. We need a little bit more kokua on that. We went and we visited with Kailua High School because we're looking to the future into how does that program look, and we were really surprised to see what we met with Po'okumu and we met with Kumuhoku Akana, and they showed what their program is all about and what they could possibly offer our keiki. But I have a few of our ohana and makua here, and I have my keiki here, and we're just looking for some kokua as to transition for our keiki in 7 and 8th grade. Last year we were offered Kailua Intermediate as a transition for that said keiki who were transitioning, but I think a lot of that fell through. A couple keiki got into Kamehameha school. We have keiki went on there. 2 other keiki went either way. One to Waimānalo and another elsewhere. to Kailua Intermediate, but did not continue in the Kayapuni program there. So we are just here with asking for some kokua in transitioning our keiki into intermediate.
Mahalo nui, Maile. This agenda item is specific to Kailua High School, but I do have you folks on the agenda to bring that concern up.
Oh, I'm
in
sorry.
a few more moments.
Oh, okay.
No, so you guys are already on the agenda, so
Okay.
don't worry.
But I
But
just
if you have
wanted
any,
to say we met with them.
appreciate it. No, I appreciate it. And if you have any further questions, comments
Okay.
for our po'okumu or our kumu at Kailua High School, we'll field it right now.
Okay. Okay. Okay for now.
Okay, mahalo. Nui. Appreciate it. Any other members of the public, questions, comments for Kailua High School? Rep, if you can please approach the mic, I appreciate it.
In the past, my Lisa Martin, state rep, I thought the plan in the past was to go to have a 7th, 8th grade program at Waimānalo Intermediate. And then last year it kind of fell apart because they had such a small class and some of them went to Kamehameha schools. But I didn't know that we were now considering like Kailua Intermediate and other, or direct to Kailua High School. And is there a reason that we are no longer looking at Waimānalo Intermediate?
Well, I think that it's not that we're not looking at Waimānalo Intermediate, but we just want to make sure that the same thing doesn't happen again like it did last year. So being prepared, so it's not like last minute, it's like we got a plan in place just in case, because I know they're looking for a kumu, but in case they're unable to find one, we don't want it to be like, okay, well, there's nothing. We'll have a plan ready to go. But that is the plan. But if it doesn't fall through, we have a backup.
Please, Miley, go ahead.
Okay, so we want to see if we can meet with our DOE. Aloha, Maile. Wanted to see if we could meet with our DOE superintendent for our community. I'm not sure if complex. Yes, could you? I'm not sure who we'd ask to. Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect.
Okay, mahalo. Do we have any further questions for Kailua High School? Hearing and seeing none. Po'okumu, mahalo again, 18 years of service in our community, for our community. I truly appreciate it. Kumu Akana, mahalo nui. Next up on our agenda this evening, Hui Malama o Kekai. Do we have a representative from Hui Malama? Hearing and seeing none. Windward Community College. We have a representative from Windward.
Aloha, mai kako. Aloha,
Aloha nui
chair,
loa,
or
you have the
vice
floor.
chair, I should say. Mahalo for the time. Couple things. One, this week is midterm, so if you have a student at college, take pity on them, maybe feed them, be kind, because they're all stressing out over tests and papers. Which also means, since this week is midterms, next week is spring break. We hope everyone has a fabulous spring break and gets rested and refreshed and gets outside for a while. And then in April, we have registration, which is delayed this year. So I thought it would be good to share with the neighborhood board. They're still resolving the student record system issues from the transition. And so summer school registration will start April 10th. And regular fall registration will start April 27th. So that's not a lot of time as the end of school comes. And then finally, while we're speaking of registration, I also want to remind anyone who is a rising 9th grader and current 8th grader that our middle college, Halau Hikili, is available for them to study Hawaiian Knowledge Innovation Certificate while going through high school. They'll be both on our campus, on the Kailua High School campus, and we have them in internships at Aloha Aina agencies and Native Hawaiian businesses and other places in the community during that time too. Okay, I think that's everything.
Mahalo nui, Chancellor. If you can please stand by for any questions and comments. Members of the board online, do you have any questions for Chancellor? Go ahead, Kumu Akana.
Aloha, artists.
Aloha.
I just wanted to ask, and this is just for an update on the funding. How is the funding looking for the is it Hile scholarship or the scholarship that extends to the the students that graduate from a Kaiolu community school that go directly to WCC. Can you please go over that, because it is scholarship season and current
Yeah.
students might not know? Mahalo.
It's almost like I planted you in the audience, Kumuhoku. Thank you for that question. So we have set aside the funds. We have a little bit of the Castle Foundation monies left, and we're going to set aside institutional. So Windward Community College tuition and fees that we've collected will go right back out into our community as scholarships for graduating seniors this year. So Ho'ole is a promise. Any student who graduates from a public or public charter school on the Windward side, if they come to us and they've applied for financial aid, if financial aid didn't cover their entire tuition costs, we come in with Ho'ole, thanks to Castle Foundation, and now thanks to the college funds as well, and we will fulfill whatever's left of their tuition. We don't want any student coming out of high school to think that tuition is a barrier to coming to college. So this removes that barrier. There's a little application, it's super short, and we've been going around to all the high schools to make sure everyone's aware of it.
Mahalo Hoku for the question. Chancellor, if again, can you please state where we can find, where the parents can find that
Yeah.
application?
And I can put it in the chat as well. If you go to the windward.hawaii.edu, which is the college's website, and Google Ho'ole, and actually it's coming across, there's like a running stream of like 3 things that are important. It's on that 3 things right now too. Oh, and we also have the Career Expo. Shoot, I forgot to say that. We have so much going on right now because the end of the year. On March 31st, we'll have, right, last count, it was about 40 employers. Our goal is 50 because that's what the room can hold, all offering higher wage jobs from 10 to 1 in Hale'akuakoa at the college. And I will put that website in too, because if you can't come, or if you can come, you can still upload your resume, and we're going to give every employer a book of resumes of our community members who are interested in jobs. Sorry, so I'll put both the Ho'ole and the Career Expo direct links in the chat.
Mahalo nui for that. Do we have any further questions from board members online? Any questions or comments from members? Hoku, is that you again?
Yes, it's me. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry. And as you were, thank you, artist, for that information. As you were talking about career fair, I wanted to put it on your radar. Or I know it's always in passing. I don't get to see you much and often, but we need to develop a career pathway for our Kaiapuni students to have careers Maholala Hawaii. That's something I'm working on actively for internships at Kailua High School. So I would love to connect with somebody at Windward to be able to support that, because our Kaiapuni students, not only from Kailua, Waimānalo, but also Puahala, also anywhere on the Windward side, you know, for anything to be viable for Olelo, it needs to connect to some sort of economic gain. And we need to identify those things and put it out there. Mahalo.
I have a fun fact to go with that. I've been looking at our post-graduation earnings in depth to look at how our students are faring after they graduate. Hawaiian Studies students, AA Hawaiian Studies, actually make more 4 years post-graduation than AA liberal arts students. And I think it's because of that cultural knowledge and language knowledge, they're able to apply for more jobs and start at a higher rate. But I would love to work together on that, Hoku. I think that that's a really important area. If we want to see our students thrive and grow, we have to make sure that they have pathways. We're also meeting to look within Hawaiian Studies of some potential certification programs that would lead to higher wages within Hawaiian Studies as well.
Mahalo.
Mahalo ya'oi.
Mahalo nui. Any members of the public online? Comments, questions, celebrations for our Chancellor? Aole, in person. Members of the public? Aole. Chancellor, mahalo nui.
Mahalo ya'oko.
Mahalo nui. My pua are a product of your folks' program, so I really appreciate you guys. Okay. Aloha nui. Next up is University of Hawaii College of Tropical Agriculture and Human Resources, CTAR. Do we have a representative from CTAR? Hearing and seeing none. Next up, Hawaii Job Corps. Auntie Julie online.
Aloha. Aloha, Julie Dugan representing Hawaii Job Corps.
Aloha, you have the floor. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm pleased to report that enrollment is growing after our shutdown last year. We're currently at about 70% capacity. We have openings and we continue to conduct weekly tours every Thursday at 9 a.m. where youth can come see firsthand everything our program has to offer. So seeing is believing. You can contact me at 259-6051 to RSVP for a tour. I'm also happy to report that last month we held a graduation ceremony and we celebrated 30 of our youth that obtained their high school diplomas.
Oh my
I'd like to give a shout out. Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to Representative Lisa Martin for being our keynote speaker and for being such a great Job Corps advocate.
Absolutely.
Also last month, students and staff attended a National Job Corps conference in Washington, D.C. During that time, we had the opportunity to meet with all of our congressional members and all who are strong supporters of the program. Also, thanks to Congresswoman Jill Takuda, I was invited to attend the State of the Union address live, which was a very lively and historical event for me to attend. Staff openings. Anyone tuning in tonight, if you're looking for a meaningful career, Hawaii Job Corps could be the place for you. We currently have openings for residential advisors, security officers, an academic instructor, a career counselor, and a registered nurse. Several of these positions have sign-on bonuses anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500. We also will be at the Windward Community College Career Fair that Art has mentioned. So again, you can apply at MTC Careers at mtc.com or contact me directly. I can walk you through the process at 259-6051. Community involvement. We continue to support the food drive at the Waimānalo District Park 2 times a month, where we help box up and deliver food to those locally in need. And then we also were at Waimānalo School, their cultural night. We had some of our Marshallese students and staff host a booth and educate people on their culture. As far as the upcoming storm, just want everyone to know that we are prepared for the adverse weather conditions coming up this week. We have our emergency plan in place and we'll keep all of our students and staff safe. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Auntie Julie, for your report. Please stand by for any questions or comments. Members of the board online, do we have any questions, comments for Job Corps? Hearing and seeing none. Members of the public online? Board members in person? Members of the public in person? Ole, Auntie Julie, mahalo nui for your service in our community. I appreciate it. And ho'omai ka'i nui to the 30 graduates and their ohana, and especially the staff there.
Mahalo.
Mahalo nui
Yes,
to our
mahalo.
representative as well for sharing her aloha in our community. Mahalo nui, Rep. Moving on with our agenda this evening. Next up, community service reports. Do we have a representative from Waimānalo Health Center? Jasmine online?
Aloha. Yes,
Aloha.
aloha.
You're
Thank you for
recognized.
having me. I wanted to share March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. It's a very serious disease. It is the deadliest cancer in people under 50 and the second deadliest cancer overall. So I just wanted to share that we encourage people to do their cancer screenings for breast cancer, cervical, and colorectal, because that helps prevent or it helps find them early when treatment is most effective. So I just wanted to put that reminder out there. If you have questions or if you need to do a cancer screening, you can call us at 808-259-7948. So thank you for letting me share that. I also wanted to share that we are also hiring. We have a variety of positions that open in medical, community services, cultural health, and dental. Dental is looking for dental assistants right now. You don't have to have any experience. You don't have to have any training. We will provide on-the-job training. So if that's something that interests you or someone you know, I'll put our careers link in the chat, waimanalohealth.org/careers. You can learn more about our positions as a dental assistant or any other of our openings. And those are my announcements. Mahalo.
Mahalo nui, Jazzy. Can you please hang online if there's any questions or comments? Members of the board, do we have any questions or comments for Waimānalo Health Center? Members online from the public? Members of the board in person? Anyone from the public in person? Questions, comments, Waimānalo Health Center? Hearing and seeing none, Jazzy, mahalo nui for your folk service to our community. And it's a very important topic, you know, especially colon cancer. Reading up some data this past week, yeah, it's taking us, you know, more than it actually should. So those of us listening in person and online, please, please, please just go get yourself screened. Appreciate it, Jazzy. Mahalo nui. Okay, next up, do we have do we have a representative from Waimānalo Hawaiian Homestead Association? Hearing and seeing none. Next up is our military reports. Do we have a representative from Bellows Air Force Station? Hearing and seeing none. Okay. Marine Corps Base Hawaii. Is Christy online?
Aloha.
Aloha nui. You have the floor.
Hi, aloha. Thank you, Vice Chair Kuike, and community members and the neighborhood board members. Just a few updates of some events that have occurred since the beginning of the year. Members of the community in Kaneohe and He'ia reached out and requested if they could host a cultural practice. So we were able to host the makahiki in February. Yes. Oh, February 14th, Valentine's Day. In addition, on that day, we were also hosting Hi'ile, who brought some of her students out, and we did a tour of Nu'upia Pond. We also had a visitor during the makahiki that he's our commanding general from Okinawa. He was visiting from Okinawa, and we invited General Wolford and Colonel Bevan to attend the makahiki, and they both came, and this was a sunrise celebration, and they were there at 6 a.m. A couple of other things I wanted to share. Every month, the Marine Corps base has an open 5K race that and I'll share through an email how to register for that. It's really easy. So if there's any opportunity that members of the community would like to participate in that event, every month there is a new opportunity, and I'll send that information out. Also, I wanted to share that we are our section has a new director. From our previous director retired back in August, shortly after the air show. So we've been without any leadership for about, well, since August. So she just started, and we're hoping to have opportunity to introduce her to you folks. Again, we will have another change of command coming up in May. Colonel Bevan will be leaving us. He will still stay on island and be working up at Indo-PACOM, but we will be announcing the new commander. I should have that name by the next meeting. Other than that, oh, one more thing. We are also, Banika Hapea reached out from Kanihunamoku requesting if her students could sail into Mokapu as a part of their Kaneohe Bay sail. And so we were able to plan and prepare for that. Unfortunately, with the weather being the way it is this week, we may have to postpone it, but it is still going to be supported by our waterfront operations. So we're excited to be able to host that opportunity for them to do that. Other than that is all I have for this evening.
Mahalo nui, Christy, for your report. If you can please stand by for some questions.
Yes.
Members of the board online, do you guys have any questions for Marine Corps Base Hawaii? Members of the public online, any questions, comments for Marine Corps Base? Members of the board in person? Members of the public in person? Ole. Christy, just mahalo nui for always being here every month and for your service to our community. And then especially mahalo, to the leadership there for acknowledging and recognizing and supporting, the utilization of mokapu and these sacred spaces, these wahikapu, for not only ceremonial practices, but, the cultural practices of today. So mahalo for supporting our community. With that being said,
Mahalo.
yeah, I'll see you next month or sooner.
Or sooner. Yes.
Okay. All
All right. Okay. Aloha.
We have a representative from Hawaii Army National Guard. Hearing and seeing none. Moving on to the next item on our agenda, 6, resident and community concerns and announcements, public reports. This segment is 3 minutes each for community concerns. Please review the notes section in the box at the top page regarding adding items to the agenda. First up is Office of Hawaiian Affairs. Any representative from Office of Hawaiian Affairs? Rabba. Okay. No, Kalamai. I work for Office of Hawaiian Affairs, and I say that because I don't have a report for our community.
I second
You
that
know,
motion.
so Kalamai kako. I malama haula neighborhood board, so it's somebody else's kuleana to report out to us. That way, I don't have to wear 2 hats in the same meeting. But it's I get my vice chair hat on tonight. So with that being said, moving on, do we have a representative from the Department of Hawaiian Homelands? Specifically, the item on the agenda tonight is to update us on the Wong Farm Homestead project. Any representative? Okay, well, hearing and seeing none, next up is C, Makua Blanche Pope, Kekula Kaipune Waimānalo. Go ahead. You can please state your name.
Aloha, I'm Maile. I'm here as a makua from Kekula Kaiapuni o Waimānalo at Blanche Pope. Just to share a couple things. I have a current sixth grader moving on to intermediate, and I'm just here pretty much concerned of the pathway for him transitioning into intermediate. Just want to make sure that there's a plan in place for the continuity of our Kaiapuni through middle school, so that what happened this past year, we don't have to see it this coming for the next Kaiapuni generations. We just want to maybe set a tone for, we have a lot of Kaiapuni keiki coming up. Yeah, after our keiki. So we're just a little concerned and we're just asking for some kokua. Some of us, let me just pull up my notes here. As families enrolling our keiki in Kaiapuni, we just want to make sure that there's no barriers that are keiki to continue their education. I think that's pretty much it. We just need some kokua in the transition and pathway into intermediate, and we want to just build that in our own community and continue it. That's it.
Mahalo nui. If there's any other makua present tonight that would like to present on the agenda item? Are you makua? Okay. Yeah. Okay, mahalo. And then so if you can just stand by and wait for any questions or concerns. Members of the board online, do you have any questions for the makua of Kekula Kaipuni and Waimānalo. Ni mana'o. Hoku. Hoku, is that you?
Aloha, yes, sorry.
Okay.
And I apologize. I'm not sure if it's appropriate that I speak. I know that I will recuse myself when it comes time to voting because I am also a DOE uh, educator in Kayapuni, so that's kind of a double hat, like you just noted. But I did want to say if there is any way that we could talk about submitting a reso in favor of supporting this pathway and perhaps putting it on our reps to help track this item because we within the DOE is one thing and we have our own, who's doing what, which is great. And I'm so I just want to say our new principal at Kailua is so supportive and being very forthcoming to help Malama this issue. But along the issue that I see is that it's the continuum that our Kayapuni is not a true necessarily. I mean, you know, as a Kayapuni parent and Kayapuni participant yourself, the ecosystem of the Kayapuni needs to be malamad. And even in the current situation where we are a school within a school, and should Waimānalo or Kailua enter Malama Skuleana, they will be a school within a school. It's already difficult as it is to awamo this Kuleana truly to the way it's intended, because Apo needs to split their concerns between the English speaking side and then the Kayapuni side, and it's gonna give way somewhere unless they have a teacher that's gonna go and like that, just break down all the doors. So I just wanna, I don't know how if we could think about putting forth a reso in support of this so that we're tracking it somewhere and possibly getting reported on as to how, because their timeline is so important. Last year's class, there was a pathway, but it was so last minute. And I mean, we all know what it is to have keiki and have a job and be worried about, okay, where's my kid going next year? And if nothing is put forth within a timely manner, I happen to know that right now lines are being created, for teacher lines and classroom spaces and registration. So if we miss it and we sleep on it, we'll hala kamanava, and it's gonna be too late. Mahalo.
Mahalo hoku for your mana'o. Kako. Do we have any other board members online? Seeing none. Have any members of the public online? Have any board members in person?
Well,
You can speak from your lived experience as a
okay.
board member.
Canela, board member, mom of a Kayapuni child. So I was there when Mahana, Noilani, Kumukioni, Lisa Martin, and our prior Pokumu Aaron brought in two Kayapuni and two Blanche Pope. And we were trying to figure out the pathway to our next step. We, as parents, we were under the intention and understanding that there was going to be a release of funding to build a space to keep our Kayapunis within Blanche Pope, to have them continue with the same kumu to help with the rooted identity of them understanding who they are before they transition. I believe this question is for Rep. Lisa Martin, because I believe you're with us as supporting us and writing for us. And I remember last neighborhood meeting, I asked what happened to that funding and if there was actually written like pen to paper of where did that funding actually go? Because this is a hearsay, because I did not hear it from our Po'okumu from her mouth, but our keikis cannot stay because there's no room at Blanche Pope for our 7th, 8th graders to stay at Kayapuni. This is also hearsay, but I was also in the conversation that Kailua Intermediate won a contract for Kayapuni when the prior Po'okumus, the husband and wife at Kailua High School and Kailua Intermediate, they were doing the Kaiapuni contract on where would the keikis go next. And so it was under the understanding that our principal, De La Cruz, which I do recommend they come soon, hopefully, they did not see space here at Waimānalo for our Kaiapuni school to be a part of. So question is, do you know what happened to that $3 million funding that was purposed for Kaiapuni students? And then what are some things that our Makua can do now? Or if you would support us to bridging them to Kailua High School directly? Because I had keikis who come from Blanche Pope to Waimānalo to Kailua High School, where the curriculum does not support the needs, the comprehension, and the application of the kids going through their academic curriculum. I really have kids right now in high school that is struggling with math and
Ella,
science.
I'm going to just jump in right here. And if you can just please address those comments to me,
Oh, yes.
right? And then I will kindly invite a representative if she would like to respond later.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Rep. First one, to see possibly what happened to the $3 million funding that was written for Kaiapuni. Second, to see if we can bridge our keikis from Blanche Pope to Kailua High School and to see how that could happen. And then thirdly is to understand where the conversation with our kids went, because I was there, like we were there. And also just for our agenda, I know this is his class of 2032, which they will graduate as seniors, but our keikis are graduating like in May. So they don't have a bridge for 7th and 8th grade in 5 months. So we don't have somewhere to put them.
Mahalo nui.
One more question. What can we do within 5 months to see where this bridge can be built?
5 questions.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
I
questions.
hurt you. I hurt you.
All right.
We're in this together, okay?
So mahalo nui for your questions. Yeah. And then I will, the reason why I want to redirect it is because I don't want to put anybody on the spot, because the agenda item is to address the Makua's concerns.
Yeah.
Yes, so I just want to make sure that we conduct ourselves with the law.
Yes.
And not that anybody was being aggressive. I wasn't sensing that, but I just want to make sure that I redirect that energy
Yeah.
back to
The chair.
the subject.
Thank you.
Okay.
Comment. Mahalo, Lisa Martin, for all your help and the Mokuas that came. And thank you, Chair, for correcting. I'll redirect to the chair.
Mahalo nui. With that being said, do we have any comments from the members of our public this evening in person? And Representative Martin, you are welcome to respond to all 5 or 1 or none of the questions that were
I'll just
posed to me.
respond. Thank you for all those questions. I'll respond to the ones I know. Some of it is a little more hearsay that I wasn't familiar with. But in terms of the funding, if it's funding for the construction that you're talking about, as opposed to program, is it for the construction of the facility, the Kaiapuni facility within the Blanche Pope
The way I
campus?
read the way I read the existing letter for those funding that was shared in like 3 years ago, it was for a building to house a pre-K and a 7th and 8th
Okay,
grade.
so construction, yeah. So my very first year of office, so that was 5 years ago, I got money for the design. And that was at the request of the principal at that time, who was actually very excited about a whole building to house a Kaiapuni program. And that was his vision. But then, tragically, in my opinion, we lost him. And nobody has had that, that was his vision. The people that had come after, they have their own priorities or, their own focus. And we actually had nobody with any focus for a while. So that was a setback. That's a real setback. And so the design didn't happen. When the money was going to lapse, we were going to lose it. I really made a nuisance of myself so that they finally got the design done. And they changed it so that the vision is no longer a building, but is now single story out towards where we have Mayday, right? 4 large classrooms, like a cluster with a open space in between. the 4 large classrooms. And the funding that I got subsequently, which is 5 million, is enough to do the infrastructure under those, including the infrastructure for all of it, and to build the 2 initial first classrooms. And that's all. It's amazing how expensive things are for the DOE. I just don't understand it, but that's what it is. And so my understanding is the design work is complete for that. And they're supposed to be, I mean, recently I actually emailed the principal, are we building yet? You know, and she said almost. So that would be just for the first phase. The second phase for the next 2 classrooms, there is not funded yet, but that's my job to go back and get that funded when they're ready, you know, when they finish, when they're well into the first phase and they can give me an exact budget for the second phase. So that's just a physical building. And I'm still very committed to that. I don't think it was never my understanding that it was meant to be through 8th grade. It was my understanding that the Haumana would go on to Waimānalo Intermediate with their same age peers, but still within a Kaiapuni classroom. It's not my children, so I defer to what people want, right? What you think is best. But I thought it would be appropriate to have them stay with their age group rather than stay back with younger kids. I know that the previous Humu from Kailua High School that left, and while she was there, she did have a daughter in the program, and she felt that it was wonderful for her daughter to be in a high school that offered a broad range of social opportunities and extracurricular opportunities, and to have a kaipuni. So that is my vision, is to have a program where the students, hopefully in the long run, can have it all. They can play football. They can do all those things. They can have a bigger pool to date, you know, whatever, just not have such a small social circle, but yet have the kaipuni. So that's what I would like, but I defer to the parents because what you want is what I will try to get. So yeah, that's all I have. That's all I know.
Thank you. Representative, thank you.
Mahalo nui for your response, Rep. Martin. Do you have any other questions, comments, concerns from the members of our public attending this evening? Ole? Okay, Chair has a few comments. Hoku, I support the idea of a reso. And if I can just tonight, just offer some language. Let's clarify who owns the land. Yeah, because it is my understanding that that land is DHHL. That land belongs to the beneficiaries of the 1920 Hawaiian Homes Commissions Act. Yeah, and it's possibly a license agreement to the state of Hawaii DOE. And therefore, there's obligations of the state of Hawaii DOE to ensure that the continued use of that land, that they participate in accordance to the law and the betterment and lives and conditions of Native Hawaiians. Yeah, and our rehabilitation. And who determines that? Who determines how Native Hawaiians need to be rehabilitated? Simple. Native Hawaiians do. Not a system, not an institution. We determine what is best for us. So if the Makua tonight, if the Makua in the future, yeah, feel like, hey, this is what we need, this is our aina that you guys are using, then let it be. So Member Akana, I do support the idea of a reso. And if you would be kind enough to draft it and circulate it through email, I think we can at least be prepared for this conversation when we reconvene next month.
Hikino.
I will make sure that Chair Kane receives the memo to keep this on the agenda for next month. With that being said, I want to also mahalo Rep. Martin for your advocacy for not only just the Kaiapuni program in our community, but truly the keiki. They are in fact our future, and if we don't invest into them, yeah, we won't see the returns that we need in order for this community to thrive. Let me remind everyone, 49% of all the land in Waimānalo is DHHL. 49%. Yeah. If you add the lands that were stolen, beach lots, they were sold out of DHHL's inventory in 1940s by the governor. If you add back those lands, and if you add back the lands that were taken by executive order, all of 1,500, 1,700 plus acres, of Bellows Air Force Field. This is all Hawaiian land. Yeah, this is all Crown lands. So let's ensure, right, that history is never erased by means of understanding who we are and flexing on our identity. Yeah, and making sure that's embedded within the education that our keiki receive. So when come their time, all of these seats on this side of the table is filled. Yeah, so mahalo. As a graduate of a Kaiapuni, as I kako. So to the makua, just nothing comes free, nothing comes cheap. Yeah, we got here today because on the backs of our kupuna and by the sweat and on the brows of our makua. I come from the days of where we had to cut and paste. There was no books in Olelo, Hawaii. You know what I mean? Like I left this school at first day, second grade because I didn't believe in this institution. And there was one last seat at Pu'ohala. And that's where I began my journey. So just mahalo you folks. Stay the course. With that being said, I just want to recognize it's 9:15 and we have a few items left on our agenda. Mahalo to those who have been stuck with us tonight. And we invite you guys to hang out with us because we have the ones who will be presenting next are very important to all the policies, all the advocacy within our community. These are the decision makers. So with that being said, next up on our agenda, item 7, elected officials reports. First up is our Councilwoman Esther Kia Aina.
Aloha and good evening, everyone.
Aloha,
I've been following all the discussion on Native Hawaiian education programs, including the Kaiapuni programs, and it reminded me of the Federal Native Hawaiian Education Act, which, despite efforts to repeal funding for it, keeps on getting put into the appropriations process by the Hawaii delegation to the tune of about $46 million. Couple of my office will be putting a link into the program run out of the U.S. Department of Education. I highly recommend. I'm looking at all of the organizations that are listed under the community organization reports. All of any public school, from elementary to intermediate to high school, including Windward Community College, are all eligible for Native Hawaiian education programs. Windward Community College would have to partner probably with a nonprofit or a Native Hawaiian education program. So having said that, I just want to say that if anyone has any questions, I highly recommend that you work with a member of the Hawaii Congressional Delegation or the Native Hawaiian Education Council. Just Google it. If you have questions, call me. 20 years ago, when I used to work for Congressman Ed Case, when he was the representative for the 2nd District, which is the outskirts of Oahu and all of the neighbor islands, we criticized the U.S. Department of Education for primarily funding programs in the 1st District, which is Honolulu. So we brought the U.S. Department of Education out here, and we did a tour of Oahu, the outskirts of Oahu, which includes the windward side as well as Waianae and all of the neighbor islands. And the reason I'm saying this is that sometimes this act has been in existence since 1988. People need a reminder. You need to fight for your fair share of funding. I see that Joe Takuta's office participates in this. You guys need to say, what about our schools in Waimānalo? What about our schools in Kailua? Okay, so that's it. I just wanted to talk about it because I do know that Senator Schatz has tried to get a carve out for facility renovation and modernization. And by the way, this also includes charter schools, yeah? So all of the public schools, including school and charter schools. I do know that just because of the tour that we got, we saw a significant increase in funding to the second district. So I think you just need to hold the Department of Education and accountable, as well as the delegation, and just say, what are you doing to make sure there's an equitable share of funding? I've been a critic that University of Hawaii Manoa seems to be gobbling up a lot of the money because they joint venture with other programs. So I hope you guys will avail yourselves of that opportunity. With regard to the mayor's budget, there are a couple of items that include Waimānalo. That will be for Hihimano Street Flood Control, for the Waimānalo Fire Station, and Waimānalo Wastewater Facilities Plan. With regard to speed bumps for Hihimano Street, as you know, I had secured funding in last year's budget, and I've been pulling my hair out, telling the department what's the holdup, because you guys, the board and the community, had signed a petition, and we got the requisite number, the percentage. So my understanding is that DTS anticipates the bidding for the installation to go out before the end of April 2026. So at least we know that that is moving forward. I also had reported that DTS, because of community concerns on Laumilo Street, has also determined that that they deserve speed mitigation measures. So they are currently working on a map with the requisite number of addresses necessary for the petition. And once that is done, I hope to work with the neighborhood board so that we could work with the addresses on the street so we can move forward on that as well. And I know the director updated you guys on the Waimānalo Beach Park projects, but I also just wanted to say that DPR, my office, and Chuck Mitsui from the Association of Skateboarders, as well as Ahonui Works, they're wonderful advocates for the pump track. And because of Chuck's guidance, I think they're trying to figure out how to move the project forward. So I just wanted to let you guys know about that. And then I understand that they're looking to revise the current plan to be located in Makai of the basketball court so they could utilize the natural grading of the field. And that's my report, Chair. Thank you very much.
Mahalo nui, Councilwoman. If you can please stand by for possible questions. Members of the board online, do we have any questions for Councilmember Kiaina? Members of the public online, do we have any questions, comments, concerns for Councilwoman? Hearing and seeing none. Members of the board in person? Go ahead.
Good evening, Councilmember Esther. Yeah, I know, Canela Neighborhood Board. I guess my question is, sorry, was there a petition for this pump track support by the community, or how did that happen?
Oh, no, that wasn't a petition. The petition is normally for speed mitigation measures. The Department of Transportation Services requires a kind of high threshold. 90% of all affected property owners on streets where mitigation measures are requested must sign off. So that happened on Hihimano Street, and we got the appropriate numbers. Now that Laumilo Street, they've determined there should be speed mitigation. They're working on a map. DTS is working on a map, and they're going to be sending the map as well as a form with all of the addresses. And so we need to work with the neighborhood board and the neighborhood to get the 90%. And after that is done, then they're going to replicate what they did for Hihimanu. I'm hoping that it will happen sooner rather than later because we're in the throes of the budget. And instead of me waiting around for them to find money, like Hihimanu, I inserted money so that they cannot tell me they're not gonna do them. So I'm ready to do Laumilo because I can't imagine you guys not getting 90% on Laumilo Street. So that's all. So with regard to the pump track, that's something that the community has been working on. They don't need a petition for that.
So this pump track was like already approved and it will go forward in.
It's not been approved, but they've been working with DPR with regard to the location at the district park. And I had put in some money for planning, but I understand now that it's a complicated process, so they might not be able to use the 100,000. Having said that, because Chuck Mitsui, he's on the board now for the parks. He's hoping to get guidance, so they think that they can maybe move forward with the planning without the money. And I don't know. I'm trying to understand my notes here. They're working to with a kind of someone from the continent who's used to doing these type of projects that might be able to streamline the process necessary to get it off the ground. And anyway, I'm just saying that it's moving forward. I believe that they're going to be able to move forward without the money that I provided because they have people around who know what they're kind of doing and might be able to get the plans done without any money.
But I make a
Last question, Kanala.
Yes. Can I make a request? Would you be able to help just define to the community what moving forward means? Like, does that mean blueprinting? Does that mean the location has been set? If you could just help us clarify what that means.
Okay. Yes, I made it generically. How about the next time I maybe get more clearance about the plan. I believe the plan has been modified on where it's going to be located at the district park. When I say moving forward, the planning process is moving forward. With regard to actual construction, we have to develop a overall strategy on where the funding source is going to be. But I understand, as you heard from some of the advocates in the previous meetings, it's kind of expensive because they're looking to harden, instead of just like have the dirt ones, they want the asphalt. So it was like a couple of $100,000. But because Chuck has done such a great job in other communities on Oahu, including Kailua, I'm confident that if we all work together, we'll be able to secure it. And so I couldn't put money in for a project if there wasn't a planning done. So what I had done was put in money, seed money. But I'm kind of glad I did it because sometimes you just need a marker to keep the issue alive. And I feel that the meeting that occurred in January of this year was a positive one because otherwise it was kind of stagnant.
Thank you so much, Council Member. Thank you, Chair.
Mahalo, Council Member. Do we have any questions from the public who are in person? Hearing and seeing none. Councilwoman, I appreciate you and mahalo nui for your service to our community and especially the advocacy for the Native Hawaiian beneficiaries of the 1920 Hawaiian Homes Commissions Act. I really appreciate
Thank you so much.
your service at the
Aloha.
federal, state, and county level. Aloha nui. Next up on our elected officials report, Senator Chrisley. Senator online? Okay, hearing and seeing none. Representative Lisa Martin.
A frequent visitor today, but my thing that I want to share most with everybody is an event in this very room this coming Saturday morning, 9 to 11, or Coconut Rhinoceros Beetle. The UHCRB response team will be here providing training and free supplies. So we will have traps, we will have netting for people that have palm trees, just residential owners of palm trees that want to save them. In the future, there will also be pesticides. They're working out the details now for that. And there will probably be a range of pesticides from some that are more effective but are toxic, and you have to keep your fruit and flowers trimmed. And then some that are for trees where people want to consume the coconut or other, products from the tree. And then those will be probably less effective, but still somewhat effective and organic. So there'll be a range. That part is not there yet, but people can learn about it. They can sign up for the full range, and they can receive traps and netting for free this Saturday. What these folks will also be able to offer is education about their research for a biocontrol, which to me is very exciting. It would be a virus that infects beetles that they went and found where these beetles are from, and it naturally suppresses the beetles. But they have to do research to make sure that it doesn't kill any of our native insects or any of the helpful insects that we want, pollinators, etc. That it only impacts it's very specific to these beetles that we do want to kill. And they'll also determine which is the most effective virus to kill our variety of beetles that has made its home here. So that is an event I hope people will share with friends and neighbors that might be palm tree owners. If you have fine CRB on your property, in your trees, nobody cares, nobody wants to hear it. We already know that we have them here in Oahu. It's nothing special, but we can do something about it. Until such a time as we have a biocontrol, we can still try to save our trees.
Mahalo nui, Rep. Martin.
Sorry, I'm so excited about that. I forgot I wanted to talk about other things. Very busy moment at the legislature. We're just at crossover now, and it's not too late to be involved if people want to be involved. My focus has been human services and homelessness because that's my kuleana, and a lot of really exciting stuff going on. If you're interested, ask me.
Appreciate it. Mahalo nui. Chair won't be taking any questions or comments for Rep. Martin. And if you have any questions or comments, you can forward it to Chair Kane here. Can somebody drop his email in the chat? Or you can forward it to Rep. Martin. And her email is Rep, if you can please, for the record.
Rep. Martin, that's with an EN, at Capitol with an O, .hawaii.gov.
Appreciate you. Mahalo nui for your service in our community. And I just wanted to make one comment. Like, I know what I just said, but I was going to make one comment on the CRB. Because we've talked a whole bunch tonight about holding these other institutions accountable to, the constitutional law, statutory law, federal law, etc. Yeah. State of Hawaii Constitution, Article 12, Section 7. Read it if you don't know it. My biggest concern with CRB is the lack of response from the state of Hawaii is perpetuating an ethnocide that nobody's talking about. Niu, or coconut, is a kinolau of Arakuaku. Should that tree no longer exist in Hawaii, how are we, as the Aboriginal people of Hawaii, able to exercise any of the ceremonies? How are we able to access as a food resource to sustain ourselves and our mo'opuna? How are we able to exercise all of the things that the Constitution and the statutes protect? At what point in time will the state not look at this as just another pest? Is it going to take a class action lawsuit like the Kalima versus State of Hawaii to again reiterate, the State of Hawaii's lack of action to rise to their obligations for the state and federal laws? So mahalo you for your advocacy. I hope everyone tuning in tonight and everyone in person do show up this Saturday. Get educated, figure out how we can contribute as a community, but the burden is on the state. The community does not control the ports of entry. The burden, again, is on the institutions, and the obligation is on the state that control the ports of entry. more often than not, the community is left with the burdens. And we got to live with the little fire ants. We got to live with the coqui frogs. And now we got to live with the desecration and the erasure of our cultural identity through our ai, through our akua, through our kinolao. Today it's niu, tomorrow it's banana. The day after that is kalo. The day after that is uwala. And before you know it, all of the canoe crops that our kupuna has sustained themselves with has been erased from the landscape of Hawaii and replaced with AI. Who knows? But Rep, mahalo nui for your advocacy. And I hope we can organize as a community and meet you on Capitol Hill to support you. So with that being said, I will close that portion of our agenda. Do we have a representative from Governor Green in the queue? Okay, hearing and seeing none, do we have a representative from Congress member Joe Tokuda? Oh. Okay, so is that going to be uploaded for the public? Okay, mahalo nui. I just got word that Congresswoman Joe Tokuda's report is in our Google Drive and that will be uploaded for public view. Correct, Melissa? Appreciate it. Mahalo nui. Okay, we are arriving at our last item on the agenda tonight. I lied. Almost there. Board business. First up on board business is the approval of regular meeting minutes for Monday, January 12th. So if there are no amendments to the meeting minutes, they are approved as distributed. Do we have any amendments from the board members? Hearing and seeing none, it passes. Next up is dog-friendly parks proposal consideration and discussion, pending proposals and consultation with Department of Hawaiian Homelands beneficiaries and the Native Hawaiian community where applicable. What does that mean? Okay. Anybody here? What are we doing on that? Any opposition to defer? No. Items deferred. Next up on the agenda, position on resolution supporting the improvement of Waimānalo affordable apartments drafted by Taylor Hunt. Board members, did you have the opportunity to review? Hoku, I see your hand raised. Go ahead. You're recognized.
Yeah, I know that I reviewed it and I actually submitted suggestions for amendment to the resolution reflecting the unique position of our current sitting board to Malama, make sure that the rent is at a certain percentage to income relevant to our community and ensure that we are not displacing our current community for potentially raising rents after the improvements are made.
Appreciate that, Hoku. So because there was suggestions made for amendments, I'm open to defer this. Do we have any opposition to defer this to next month? No opposition? Okay, items deferred. Okay, next up, D, update on Coconut Rhinoceros Beetle interim rules by our Sierra Club president, Wayne Tanaka.
Good evening, Acting Chair Kamake Ohelo, members of the Commission, Wayne Tanaka with the Sierra Club of Hawaii. Chair Kane just asked me to come and just give a brief update on what's happening, I think with the CRB interim rules on Hawaii Island. So just quick background, 2023 first findings of larvae in Waikoloa, they took care of those, it was kind of quiet for a while, and then I think March of last year, they started popping up again, right? And then despite a voluntary order to stop movement of CRB host material, now we're finding them in not just Waikoloa, but Palamanui, Kiholo, all the way to the airport. And then so and it's real, it's getting close to where maybe game over. And so the community there, Pahaku, Pelemaka, and then the Hawaii Wildlife Fund, they submitted a petition for interim rules to the Board of Agriculture and Biosecurity to kind of like Molokai in terms of like getting expedited, it's an emergency, right? So expedited response. But instead of a full-on ban, a full-on stop movement order, they're asking for essentially like compliance agreements. So if you want to move CRB host material or palms or potted plants, and you gotta get this agreement that says your staff can inspect, you can get training, You're gonna do certain treatment protocols like, like inspect the root ball, soak the root ball, inspect, like hold stuff in CRB proof containers and that kind of thing to prevent, to minimize the chances of CRB escaping this infested area. And, and I will say, I've been hearing reports, like almost daily mulch is being moved from Kona to like other parts of the island. There's palms being shipped to Maui, and then if this stuff hits Maui, then Lanai, Molokai, they're gonna be that much more in danger of being exposed. And so to your point, I think, Chit, that like it's incumbent upon all of us to kind of support these rules and show the Board of Agriculture and their staff that people are paying attention. And so no one just pass the rules and then sweep them under the rug, but you pass the rules and we're going to be watching. And so that's why I think it may be particularly helpful for this board to, take a position. Others happy to answer any questions about, what's going on. Oh, and then, sorry, the anticipated final approval date is March 24th. So that's the 2 Tuesdays from now, I think, at the Board of Agriculture and Biosecurity, to get these rules adopted, at least on the interim basis.
Mahalo nui, Wayne, for your update. And, I'm just going to make a brief comment. Laws without teeth have no effect. Yeah. And the department, what's the name now?
DAB, Department of Agriculture and Biosecurity.
Yeah. So DAB, right? And like they really don't have, they have the authority to enforce, but they don't have the bandwidth to enforce. And then asking these individual operators to, can you just sign this paper telling me that you go and soak your root ball and inspect? All they're going to do is sign the paper, because they're in the business of making money. They're not in the business of saving coconuts, so I'm more of the mindset that we stop them. And I'm really going to stand on the comment I made earlier. Unless we elevate this to the understanding, the shared understanding that should we not stop this now, yesterday, this part of our culture going to be erased forever from Hawaii. And we will never be able to eat a Hawaiian coconut 2, 5, 10 generations from now. Unless we elevate it to that, then there's really no encouragement for the state agencies, for individual organizations to feel threatened enough to actually do the right thing, do the pono thing. So I support whatever policies that we put in place to establish procedures to minimize. We're already at the point of erasure. You look at the trees in Waimānalo. Yeah. The safest trees we got is past Kaiona because they haven't migrated that far south. But you go to other side, they're already there. Yeah. So we are beyond code red.
Yeah.
We are, just trying to hold on to this part of our identity that maybe one generation from now going to be eliminated. So, if you guys have any questions for Wayne, not now is the time to ask. But there is a recommendation attached to this agenda item that we recommend approving the chair of the Waimānalo Neighborhood Board or assigned designee to provide testimony regarding invasive species and management as they arise. And the closest date to us is March 24th, as our brother Wayne just identified for us. So I will, if there's no questions for Wayne, if there's no comments, I'm willing to entertain that motion. Do we have a motion?
Yeah, this is Moyata. I'll make a motion to support the recommendation of having the chair speak on that.
Okay, so your motion is to, so you move that you support the recommendation as written.
Yes.
Mahalo nui. Do we have a second?
I second that motion for Board Member Canella.
Mahalo nui. Board members, give me a second. Wayne, mahalo nui. You can sit down. Mahalo nui. I appreciate you. Can I just clarify with Melissa to ensure that we still have quorum? Okay, mahalo nui. Members, we have a motion on the floor made by Moyata and then seconded by Canela to accept the recommendation as written. And let me just read it for the record. The recommendation is approving the chair of the Waimānalo Neighborhood Board or assigned designee to provide testimony regarding invasive species and management as they arise. The floor is now open for discussion. Do we have any discussion, members? Mahalo. If there's no discussions, let's call for the vote. Because this is the first vote, I believe we need to do a roll call.
Member Hoku Akana,
Aye.
Member Kukui Akana.
Aye.
Thank you. Member Kamahaloha Nuilai.
Aye.
Thank you. Vice Chair Kamakeo Hello.
Aye.
Chair Kane is not here. Member Makaila. Not here. Member McKee.
Aye.
Thank you. Member Mokulehua.
Aye.
Thank you. Member Nee. Not here. Member Alston. Not here. And Member Wong.
Aye.
7 votes. Motion adopted.
Mahalo nui, board members, for your vote of confidence. This is again an issue that touches all of our lives, especially the community that we are tasked to serve. With that being said, just want to extend a great mahalo to the president of the Sierra Club, Wayne Tanaka, for always tracking this legislation, especially you guys' work and dedication around, the atrocities at Kapukaki or Red Hill. Just mahalo nui, and just know that even though we don't always see each other, you guys' work don't go unnoticed. Yeah. With that being said, let's begin closing up and buttoning up this meeting. So, is this you or me? I can do it, or you can do it, or you can do it.
City and County of Honolulu and Hawaii Food Bank are partnering up to fight against hunger. So if you guys want to donate canned goods, I can collect them at the next neighborhood meeting on Monday, April 13. Yeah.
Mahalo. And Melissa, I got a question. What happens when we have communities in need? Can we call you guys for the canned goods? Oh, I thought you said you was partnering with them. No, mahalo ne. With that being said, Kako, the next Waimānalo Neighborhood Board meeting number 32, our regular meeting is scheduled for Monday, April 13th, 2026. 2026 Olelo broadcast schedule, the Waimānalo Neighborhood Board number 32. Again, meetings are broadcasted on Olelo Channel 49 on the 4th Monday of the month at 9 p.m. and on the 1st and 3rd Saturdays of the month at 3 p.m. At those times, you can review this month's meeting. And with that, I call this meeting adjourned at 9:47. Mahalo nui, Kako. Again, for your attention, mahalo nui for your dedication to serving our community and bringing all of the issues forward. With that, I will ask that somebody willing, God willing, that will close us up in Pule. If not, I can close us up in Pule.
I can.
Okay, mahalo nui. Go ahead.
Mahalo, mahalo Keakua for being with us, being with Waimānalo. We ask for your favor. We ask for your strength. We ask for unity and all the things that are needed in our community. Lord, we thank you that you care about us. We for each person that's suffering, each person that's doing well, they would know that you care about our community and that we can go forward in the things that we've been talking about. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. E mahalo nui a kako pakaya po. Pomali a kako ke loho nui. Me oko kamano ko kako kupuna. Aloha no.